Hey, what's up YouTube? Social media seems like the place to go if you want to show off. If you want to show off your big mansion, your fancy car, or your fat stacks of cash. Unfortunately, I have none of those things. So, I'm going to show off my great commute. Like any good video, we start in the men's locker room at my work. So the locker room is actually really nice. It has showers, it has towels and soap, so you really don't have to bring anything. The bike locker is behind a company card secured area. So in all the years that this building's been running, no bike has ever been stolen. I'm riding my mountain bike right now, but I've ridden my road bike before, and you can see the guy next to me has a reasonably fancy Cannondale. So you don't really have to worry about stuff getting stolen here. And then I just take the elevator up. You can see there's a random dude just sat there, and I start my Strava. The elevator always smells funny. But once I'm at street level, I just cross the road and I'm onto the street, ready to start my commute home. So the reason why I actually like commuting with my mountain bike is because I can get a decent workout in and not be going absurd speeds on the bike path. So even if you're just doing some zone 2 riding at like 230 watts, if I'm on the road bike, in some cases I'm going 35 to 40 kilometers an hour, which I don't know, on the bike paths, I don't think is the most appropriate. So I can do whatever I want and push as hard as I want on the mountain bike and still be going at a reasonable speed for bike paths. So on my way out of the city, there's a dedicated lane for buses and bikes, which means I don't have to deal with any cars really other than the ones turning right. So it feels like a pretty safe experience in my opinion. Normally I ride faster than the buses, but if a bus does ever catch me and it comes up behind me, I normally just let it go by. Just because there's so many people on the bus, I don't want to be holding them back. Whereas I don't feel bad about holding 1 or 2 people back in a private car. Once I'm out of the main downtown area, which only takes around 5 minutes, I get to go ride through Stanley Park on the bike lanes. So Stanley Park is a really nice place to ride if you're a leisure cyclist. It's maybe not the greatest place to do your threshold intervals, for example, or any sort of like sprint training. But if you're just wanting to go out on a nice pedal, you can do a loop of the island area, which is really nice. Here, I'm just cutting straight across the diameter of the island instead of doing the circumference. In terms of the quality of this bike lane, it's nice that it's completely divided by cars, so you don't have to worry about getting hit at all. It is kind of annoying that these street lamps are just scattered throughout the lane. So this one right here, right in the middle, and then also the lane on the left, half of it is a chunky sidewalk, which is pretty uncomfortable to ride on. So once I'm through Stanley Park, I get a ride over the Lionsgate bridge, and this is probably the highlight of my commute, especially at this time of year because the sun is kind of setting around 6 o'clock when I'm on my way home. So you get a nice golden hour and you get to see the mountains lit up in this golden late in the day sunlight. So the mountain range kind of right in front of me has a couple peaks on it. To the left there's Crown Mountain. Right in the center is Grouse, home of the famous grouse grind, and then to the right there is Mount Fromm. And then over to the right of me, kind of behind, which you can't see, is the Vancouver skyline, which looks really nice at this time of day. And also really nice in the morning when you get the sunrise going over it. Once I'm off the Lionsgate Bridge, I'm onto the North Shore and onto this multi-use recreational path. Now, don't get me wrong, this path is great, and as far as bike infrastructure in North America goes, this is pretty much as good as you can get, and yeah, it's really nice. But there are a couple things that I would change. Let's just take a quick freeze frame here at this road crossing. The multi-use path that I'm in is a main commuting corridor, and these roads that are intersecting with this path are residential streets. The main purpose of these speed bumps are to prevent car and bike collisions. But I think they'd be much more effective if they were on the residential streets, slowing down the cars, rather than in the multi-use path, slowing down the bikes. The second thing is whenever we cross one of these residential streets, the bike lane goes down to street level, then back up to bike lane level. I think this would be a perfect place to implement a continuous sidewalk, but I'm not great at explaining these things, so I'm going to link to a video which does explain it very well. You should watch that after you're done watching this one. Overall, these are very minor inconveniences for a cyclist, But it really makes me feel that cyclists are considered second-class citizens just because it's okay if we give them some minor inconveniences as long as the cars get everything as convenient as possible. And because of all this, when I'm on my road bike, like many other road cyclists, I find myself using the road instead of this multi-use lane just because I'm trying to get where I want to get using the path of least resistance. Anyways, that's enough about me ranting about bike lanes. Once I'm off that multi-use recreational trail, I have to merge back onto the road into this painted bike lane, which honestly is pretty great because it gets me to where I need to go as fast as possible. Today, I also took a bit of a detour on my way back home just so I could show you guys the nice Vancouver skyline from the North Shore. Sorry. The rest of the trip is pretty quick, just on random bike paths, and there's a lot of hills, so these e-bikes and scooters are really popular in my area. My condo has decent bike storage. I wouldn't store anything super fancy, and my nice bikes I keep in my unit with me, but it does the trick for the commuter bike. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I love living where I live. The fact that I don't have to own a car saves so much money, and my commute is honestly very enjoyable compared to the alternatives. Anyways, if you guys like this, leave a comment. Let me know how your guys' commutes are. I hope you guys have infrastructure just as good, if not better than this. And I'll see you next time.